Emily, for an insider's perspective on how Kodak could have reversed course, we're joined by Jeffrey Hayzlett, former chief marketing officer at Kodak, who served in that capacity for 4 years before leaving the company in 2010, joining us from Nashville, Tennessee. Jeff, talk to me about what went wrong sort of at the end there with Kodak.
Well, I think the concentration's been on too many bets across the line. I think that's the case, and then you run up against a bad economy. That's what happens to you. But really, the pivotal moment was back in 1975 when they discovered the digital camera, when they made the digital camera and then put it aside in order to live out the film business for so long. And that effort in the 70s, 80s, and 90s led up to this big build of all this overhead and, structure and everything else that they just didn't have the runway to see it to the end.
Yeah, the economy, I mean, Warren Buffett says you can see you swimming naked when the tide goes out. But this, as you say, has been a long time coming. There's a big look back, and it usually starts with lots of talk about Kodachrome. There was a great song in the 60s. I went nuts when I looked at the San Francisco Chronicle, did a story about Kodak, and showed a picture of Kodachrome. The picture itself was 2 years old. Was the success of the marketing of Kodak part of the problem, that people couldn't see the company change?
Well, I mean, the company has changed. If you look at the company, I think 80–90% of its revenues today are B2B business, but yet here we are talking about the consumer business. And it's the consumer business that's not making the money. In fact, in the commercial print business, which somebody reported a few minutes ago, they're actually making some pretty good money. There's a lot of businesses inside of Kodak that make good cash and have a lot of value. That IP portfolio is just one of them, but the other businesses they just have too many businesses right now that aren't making money. And really what you have to do is jettison the ones that aren't and keep the ones that are. And they just tried to keep a little too many of those.
Well, I said at the end, it's not the end. It's just a financial change for this company. When you were there, what was the hardest change to effect?
Oh, changing mood inside the company. I mean, I just had an executive who walked up to me just last week and said, I think film's coming back. And I said, what, are you kidding me? That's the problem. The second that, agents of change get out of the company, it snaps back like a rubber band. And that's part of the problem. They've really got to make that transition. There's a lot of people inside the company that still believe their best days are behind them, not in front of them. And when you have that kind of mood, no matter if you're, a rainmaker, if you're, Antonio Perez, who's trying to make some changes there, you can't make it happen with that kind of mentality. So they've really got to change the mood in the company and agree to go where they want to go, and they just don't have that buy-in across the board.
I wonder if that sort of insular nature, that, again, the success of telling the Kodak story in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, or shoot, all the way back to the 50s or 40s, worked within inside the company, especially in a city like Rochester, New York, such a place with so many great things and great education and great arts, but a very insular city in part because of George Eastman himself.
Well, it was, as you know, it's a company town. I mean, George Eastman built that city. He was, a big backbone behind, much of the growth of the company, and it led it through its heydays into the 70s and 80s, And it's tough to relive that Kodak moment. I mean, they're going to have a different kind of Kodak moment. There's no doubt about it. I mean, look at all the iconic companies that have declared bankruptcy in the last couple of years. Car companies, airlines, and they're going to go on and move to a different kind of company. That's what Kodak will do. And the people in Rochester, they're great people. The people at Kodak are great people, smart people. I mean, they have so many patents because it's so doggone cold up there. They have nothing better to do but sit inside and invent things. So, so they've got some great things that are going to happen to them. They're going to come out of this. And I think everybody in the world is hoping that they will, because they gave people such great moments in life, and that's what they remember. It's just a different kind of company going forward.
You're giving me flashbacks of shoveling driveways in Rochester. But let me ask you a question about this. I mean, looking forward, their printer business is very intriguing. They've made the case that their printers are better than HP. The cost of ownership is lower because they use less ink and fewer replacements. They've obviously been seeding the market with printers, hoping to reap the reward of ink sales. What do you know about their plans going forward with the printer business, and do you think that's going to take them out to be a whole new kind of Kodak in the future?
Well, they've got two kinds of printer business. They've got the commercial business, which is a success and has been a success for a long time, and they've duplicated that same kind of consumer model on the commercial side. So that's going to be a real feather in their cap. The consumer business has taken a little bit longer. Now they're going after heavier ink users, but these people use more cartridges. Now their competition, HP primarily, is making $9 billion a year in profit just off of this one little product, these little inkjet cartridges. So I think they're on the right track with with it. Now, just a matter of the economy slowed them down a little bit, took them a little bit longer. They had some technology hitches, but I think they'll come through it.
All right, Jeffrey Hayzlett, former Chief Marketing Officer of Kodak. Really glad to have you join us in this important day, a sad day for this company. Emily?
Yep.
Thanks, Corey. Kodak moment. Wonder if that's a phrase that's going to survive this.